Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the videos. I hope you watched it about substrate and activation energy, and I hope that made sense to you. Now, knowing now what a substrate is, a substrate and an enzyme, they're kind of like puzzle pieces, and they will bind together at a specific place. So if I look over here, you see right here, this picture that you're looking at, if I see, they kind of look like puzzle pieces if you think about them. And the place where they match up, that is called the active site. Whoops, let me erase this one. Oh, that's a good picture for you to see too. But enzymes will bind because a lot of times they tend to have, like we said, they're kind of like puzzle pieces. They kind of have a complementary shape. And that fit is so perfect, like it's a puzzle piece. Some people call it puzzle pieces, but another way to think about it, and probably a better way, is to call it kind of like a lock and a key. And if you've ever dealt with, especially like on your lockers or bikes, if you ride a bike, sometimes you put a lock on it. Those locks have a very specific key, and that key will only fit in that lock. And the same is true with an enzyme and a substrate. So most enzymes are named for the foods that they help react. So just some examples, like if I think about lactose is like dairy. Lactase is named for it, and it's the one that helps break down lactose. So what are some other examples of enzymes and what do they break down? Just a few, and you might have heard a few of these before. Lactose is the one most people have heard of because you hear people say they're lactose intolerant, meaning they can't handle dairy because they are probably missing that lactase, and so their body is not digesting that dairy as quick as it should. There's also one called sucrase, which breaks down sugar. Amylase, which breaks down starch in your stomach. Pepsin, which breaks down proteins, but notice that most of them, except for that last one, pepsin, all end in the letters ASE. That's usually how you're going to know that it's an enzyme. Now, earlier I said in the video that the enzymes were really good about like kind of joining the party, speeding up the reaction, and then they like wave bye-bye and head on to another party. They're party animals. They are not changed by the reaction. They catalyze. And so because they're not changed and they're that perfect puzzle piece fit, they can be reused by your body over and over again. They can go to lots of parties. So how can enzymes be affected? Because they can. You will hear some people that maybe weren't lactose intolerant at one time, but now are. It could be because something has affected those enzymes and they're no longer that perfect shape. Their puzzle piece is now getting warped. So here's how they can be affected. Enzymes only work at a very specific temperature and pH. They're very selective. They like a certain temperature. They like a certain pH. And if you're not in that temperature range, like you get too hot or too cold, or you change that pH, maybe you're not basic anymore, maybe you become more acidic, or something changes the pH, that enzyme will warp, meaning that puzzle piece that fit perfectly in a lock and a key, all of a sudden you are warping that lock or that key or that puzzle piece. And that warping of it means it's not going to fit anymore and it's not going to work. But we don't say that about enzymes. We'll say they're denatured. You see Mr. Bean over here, you're so hot you denature my proteins because they're too hot. Temperature's too hot. So now knowing that our lab on Wednesday is about denaturing enzymes, and we're going to see what happens when you get something too cold or too hot, what happens if it'll slow down the reaction. And it probably will because your enzymes will be denatured. Now here's the thing, every reaction in your body is probably helped by enzymes. Those workers in your body, those are your proteins. Proteins are your hard workers that do all the work in your body all the time. And enzymes are those special proteins that really speed things up and work super hard. So that's it for enzymes. So what I want you to do is not only write your notes and keep them in your journal or keep them in a safe place, but after we have talked about enzymes and you've watched these videos, go ahead at the end of your notes and try to summarize basically what you learned about enzymes. Maybe that they're special proteins, maybe that they fit in a lot like a lock and a key to a substrate, maybe that they speed up chemical reactions, maybe that you can denature them by changing the temperature and pH. Whatever it is, write me 4 sentences because that will help your mind kind of memorize these notes. For those of you at home, I will attach to the rest of this Nearpod, we will put in a few vocabulary and kind of quiz questions to kind of reinforce the skills that you just saw in the notes. For the people in class, they will get that too in class, but just look a little slightly different. Anyway, I hope the rest of your day goes great. Hope you learn more about enzymes. See you soon. Bye.